In determining whether a modification to a contract or task order is beyond the scope of the contract or order, and thereby triggers applicable competition requirements, we look to whether there is a material difference between the modified order and the order that was originally awarded. Evidence of a material difference between the modification and the original order is found by reviewing the circumstances attending the original procurement, and any changes in the type of work, performance period, and costs between the order as issued and as modified. We also consider whether the solicitation for the original order adequately advised offerors of the potential for the type of change found in the modification, and thus whether the modification could have changed the field of competition. Here, we find that the technical direction letter TDL is out of scope of the task order it purports to clarify. The TDL was issued in order to assist Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division in establishing operations in a commercial cloud computing facility. GSA confirms that the TDL scope of work pertains to supporting the move to the cloud environment, but contends that the scope of requirements contained in the TDL was entirely consistent with the scope of the RRTS task order. However, the RRTS task order makes only limited reference to cloud services, such as that the contractor shall provide research and analysis support necessary to assess systems in areas such as cloud, big data. More specifically, the agency asserts that establishment of a commercial cloud facility is within scope of the RRTS task order. It instructs the RRTS contractor to provide support to C4ISR and big cloud system technology insertion initiatives, including transfer and transition of existing and emerging technologies. However, Section C.5.3 instructs the contractor to provide research and analysis support by developing custom identification, collection, interpretation and evaluation systems necessary to assess systems in areas such as the cloud, big data. Thus, the RRTS subsection, B, insertion initiatives, are provided as part of research and analysis support for the RRTS task order, not enterprise-wide cloud migration and operations as contemplated by the TDL. The agency also argues that Section C.5.4 of the Rapid Response Technical Services RRTS task order requires the contractor to provide general requirement support, to include providing logistics support, software and hardware support, operations and maintenance support, operator procedures, systems integration and demonstration, and exercise preparation support, and that these tasks encompass the TDL work. However, the contractor's responsibilities here are project-based and, importantly, relate to information assurance for classified material and must be performed according to certain guidance applicable to classified systems and classified material. In contrast, the TDL scope of work does not mention work on classified systems. Thus, this task order section does not reasonably encompass any TDL work. Overall, we find that the TDL's work in supporting the migration to and operation of a cloud facility differs materially from the RRTS's scope of work, by providing research and analysis support for systems assessment. For example, under the heading of Information Assurance Support, the RRTS task order requires the contractor to support risk management certification and accreditation with regard to intelligence community classified information technology systems. On the other hand, the TDL requires the contractor to educate and develop an organic understanding of DoD guidance relating to unclassified data as part of its information assurance support. Further, under the TDL, the contractor must educate and develop an organic understanding of DoD's cloud-first policy, and how to best utilize that to the advantage, to reduce time to approval to operate the new cloud-based IT systems. The work related to establishing an unclassified cloud environment under the TDL is substantively different from tasks supporting certification and accreditation related to classified environments under the RRTS task order. Similarly, the TDL asks the contractor to perform work that goes beyond the RRTS task order scope of work. For example, the TDL scope of work requires the contractor to provide IT support services to manage the government's enterprise-wide IT server and storage computing environments, and manage delivery of all enterprise IT services. However, the RRTS statement of work never uses the phrases enterprise or IT server and does not anticipate the contractor performing ongoing management. As to whether any TDL work falls within the scope of the RRTS task order, we note that the TDL makes no reference to the Rapid Response Project Office, RRPO, and its scope of work does not refer to ISR work. The TDL seeks support for NOCAD, not the RRPO, and is thus broader in scope than the RRTS task order. GSA contends that the TDL can be used to support offices other than the RRPO because the RRPO supports other DoD and non-DoD agencies, and this task order is being used to support these unspecified agencies. This argument, however, that the RRPO work can be used as a foundation upon which to cantilever broad support for both DoD and non-DoD work misreads the express terms of the RRTS task order. On this record, we conclude that the TDL's instructions to provide services to offices other than the RRPO, as well as new services for cloud migration and operations, represent a material departure from the RRPO ISR services competed among Alliant GWAC contract holders and awarded to Smartronix. Furthermore, although the RRTS task order prohibits the use of TDLs for assigning new work, directing a change to the quality or quantity of supplies and/or services delivered or changing any other conditions of the task order, and despite GSA's argument that the TDL is not a modification to the task order at all, the GSA and Navy considered the TDL to encompass new work. In this regard, the Navy confirmed to GSA that, in regards to your inquiry as to whether this TDL work is being provided for on another contracting vehicle, it is not. The record also shows why the Navy elected to put the cloud migration and operations work on the RRTS task order. Smartronix's RRTS task order was chosen as the vehicle for the Navy's migration to a cloud-based managed service organization due to the Navy's critical need for a contract vehicle to accommodate an emergent rapid requirement to stand up a proof-of-concept demonstration for a cloud-based infrastructure environment. The Navy concluded that the symbiotic relationship between the two hosting environments, on-premise legacy and cloud, and the associated migration activities necessitate all work performed be under one contract. The Navy justified its decision to put the new TDL work on the RRTS task order on the basis that the Alliant GWAC is IT-focused and of course the scope of this vehicle covers all things IT and any corresponding task orders and TDLs would follow suit. The Navy's desire for the work to start quickly under one contract appears to have taken precedence over a critical analysis by GSA and the Navy as to whether the TDL work was within the existing scope of the RRTS task order. The record shows that the TDL scope of work is broader than the RRTS task order in terms of offices served and subject matter. Based on this record, we conclude that the TDL work is a material departure from the scope of the RRTS task order and we sustain the protest.